rolling up, Uber black Cadillac, high heel boots, and a sexy body full of tats. Baby's bad, oh baby's hella bad. After her there ain't no coming back. Wanna take a run at that? I think she's feeling me. Turn it up a few degrees. My imagination of her body gets the best of me. Oh gosh, she's such a tease. Bitten lips, bruised knees. I'm addicted to her, need her touching me. Cause she got a bad little waist, and we tearing down this place. Off the liquor that we chase. Got some egos to the face. Baby, I don't need no space. Coming closer for a taste, and I'll show you how I make everything just fade away. Cause she's like sex, drugs, cocaine, body so insane. Jealous of the clothing that she wears up on a tight frame. All game, no shame, baby came here to play. I feel like an addict cause she's sex, drugs, cocaine.
Hello everybody and welcome to Dynamic GT League's Formula Icons Cup for Race 7 from the Suzuka Grand Prix circuit. Quick look at the track map. 3.6 miles in length, 18 corners. The tyre damage indicator is red. The drivers will suffer with the tyres around here. Many of these corners have famous names, so let's take a look at them with the assistance of Mitch on this occasion. So Suzuka Grand Prix circuit, running down the hill. It doesn't look that much downhill, but it really is to the first corner. Very quick entry, but you've got to get ready to slow the car down for the second corner. Now we're into the most important part of the circuit, the snake or the knuckles as it's known. Very quick through here, be smooth if you can, work out where you're going to be off the throttle and on the throttle, but this is the key corner. Compromise the exit here to benefit in Dunlop, because Dunlop is where you do not want to run wide, and you can if you get the previous corners wrong. Now we're flat out up over the hill, making our way towards the Degner 1. Be quick on the way in, avoid the curb on the way out. Degner 2, missed the apex a little bit there by Mitch, but also missed the exit curb, and it's important to do. That's easy to spin. Quick short run now to the hairpin. Get on those brakes hard, do not turn in too soon, don't tighten the corner too much. Second gear, and then absolutely nail it and the exit. A bit weird there, and the exit around the 200R, absolutely flat out, but also very easy to run wide, especially if you are too wide through there. Now we're into spoon curve, a bit on the brakes, get it tucked in, let the car run out, and then slow it down again for the second part, and then full throttle as early as you can. You can use a bit of a curb on the exit, but don't go riding it too far because it will throw you off like a bucking bronco. Now we make that run, the flat out straight to the 130R, absolutely flat out in these cars, turn it in nice and easy, and then we've got the short braking zone, bank nose anchors on into the Casio triangle, using all of the curb if you dare, and then we're flat out on the throttle down the hill towards the finish line, take in the scenery, and across the line we go. And thank you to Mitch for taking us for a lap around Suzuka. Okay, let's take a look at the current championship standings. Steve F1 leading the way on 117 points, ahead of Demon R on 99. SGP's in third place with Jason in fourth. Not too far behind him is David Harp in fifth, who's closely followed by Conrad. Art, Pal and Formula Gary tied 7th, and then we've got Twilight in 9th, Fluffy Planet in 10th, Hay in 11th, Mitch 12th, SRI 13th, Rich Blues 14th, Jimmy 15th, and Bumsel 16th. Okay, let's see how the guys got on in qualifying then for round 7 at Suzuka. And on pole position we have Steve F1 for the umpteenth time this season. Well done to him. Joining him on the front row though will be SGP, just 0.4 of a second behind. Demon R will start on row 2 in third place, and he'll line up alongside Conrad in 4th, so a good time from Conrad there. In 5th place, we've got SRI with his new wheel. Can he get another podium here today? In 6th place, alongside him is Twilight. He does not like this car, he does not like this track. Bear that in mind. Jason, he'll start 7th place, and he's going to line up alongside Dave the Harp. So, who have we got then in 9th place? It's Art Pal. Perhaps a tricky qualifying session for Art Pal and Jimmy, not quite on the pace, but that is one of the benefits of having the boost. So 10th place for Jimmy. In 11th it's Formula Gary. He tends to have stronger races than qualifying. And then we've got Fluffy, who's had very limited practice. He'll start in 12th place. Bunsell, nice to see you back on the track. He'll start in 13th place, and unfortunately we've got a few drivers away. Rich, Hay and Mitch all unable to race today at Suzuka, and I know that at least two of them will be disappointed about that, because they do like this track, or do they hate this track? I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, have a good one everybody, and yeah, so here we go. Let's hand over to the commentators. So here we go then, Suzuka Grand Prix Circuit. Ray in the commentary box with us. How are you, Ray?
I'm doing very well. How's yourself?
I'm absolutely great, as the guy who controls the lights is waiting and waiting to let them go, and away they go. Steve F1 nearly didn't go then. David R's had a blinder of a start. This almost looked like a famous race from many years ago, but with a Williams in the middle. Conrad's had a good start. SRI's had a decent start. He's going to go around the outside of Steve F1 at turn 1. He's going to try, but Steve F1 holds him off around 2. No, he doesn't, because SRI comes through in 3.
Yeah, it's alright, just braving himself. He's lucky there.
I just thought, you know what, like our styles of commentary, I'm kind of like, if you would think about medicines, like I'm the uppers and you're the relaxants. It's like, oh, this is so exciting. Yes, it is.
I'm the voice that puts
everyone to
viewers
sleep.
to sleep.
Well, I doubt we're going to be having that today. We're around this circuit, the famous track. What, Steve F1, he's off.
Oh,
he's into the barrier. This has not been a good start to the race. Twilight nearly collected him as well. Gary's done him a good, and Gary having a look up the inside of Twilight. Twilight, I think, just spotted him at the last moment.
Yeah, I was lucky there for Steve F1, sorry. But yeah, I was lucky there. Gary is still trying to fight with Steve F1. SGP? What's he doing? No, that's Dave the Harp, sorry.
It is, yeah. Oh, how'd you get those two wrong? It's completely different colours. Oh, Dave's off wide. You don't want to be out there. You have to be so careful trying to get back on the track there as well, don't you, Ray? Because the car will spin you very easily.
Yeah, it would oh, somebody in the background there, nearly off. But yeah, it would spin you off easily. The marbles, the dirty dust on the curb.
Absolutely. I think it was Jimmy that had that little moment. We just saw his rear wing. I think it was the Fujifilm that was on it. SGP then in second place at the moment. He absolutely loves this track. SRI has now got Conrad right behind him. Conrad, I think has had very limited practice around here. He knows the track. But as we mentioned last week, Ray, this is a narrow circuit, and it is one that can punish you if you dip a wheel. Oh, SCP was having a little cheeky look at Dimnar. And for the likes of Conrad, is he going to have the look that we've talked about in previous races on the pack cam? Gary's just gone very wide and showing a bit of a doorway to Arpow. As SRI's all over the back of SGP now.
Yeah, Conrad, he seems to be able to turn up and be fast. It's just like some mistakes he has cost him more. It's more of a what's the word I'm looking for?
Consistency.
Yeah, sometimes he'll just make that mistake and it'll hinder him. As we see, he's on the back of SRI now, so is he going for a look? Oh! SRI went defensive.
Yeah, well, that little...
With SRI going defensive, look, Conrad's on outside, is he going to get round? Yep, easy.
Yep, well, SRI is going to have another run back at him, but as they make their way up to Spoon, is Conrad going to cover that inside? No, he's not. He's being brave there. Yeah, we saw Connor's car wiggle a little bit under braking, and obviously that was being hard on the brakes and trying to make sure he didn't hit the back of SRI. Steve F1 is in 6th place at the moment. Twilight's in 5th. Behind the front 4. Looking at the pack cam though, look at Jimmy, he's got Art Power. Gary either side of him, that's down to Spoon, no not Spoon, that's down to the R130, and someone's off wide. Gary's off wide.
Yeah, Gary off wide there, 3 wide, 2 wides Bad enough, really. Come on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, yeah, come on. But I mean, I think if you're 3 wide, that one who's out on the wide is going to end up very, very wide. I don't think there's any way it could end any differently, really, because just by trying to give the space, you'll end up running out. Why is Gary going round the outside of Dave the opposite? No, he's trying. Dave the Ops may have to be a little careful here. If you let Steve F1 break away, he could come under a lot of pressure as SGP following Demon R. Now, for the championship rate, this is absolutely brilliant as far as Demon R is concerned. Demon R needs a solid result here with Steve F1 having a bad one to keep that championship fight alive. The problem for Demon R at the moment is that SGP loves this track. He's quick around here, and it looks like he's really settling into a bit of a rhythm. Right behind Demon R. Oh, that's all right. Nearly had a rhythm into the barrier.
Yeah, these front 4 have kind of broke away, and they've got a wee kind of like the gaps kind of near enough consistent between them. So maybe they're all just wanting to keep the speed up and get away from 5th place Twilight. But we'll see.
But yeah, I mean, it could be a case of perhaps SGP isn't on the attack to, as you said, break away, because at the moment it does look like Demon R and SGP are breaking away a little bit from Conrad and SRI. It's when we 5 minutes into the race. Oh, who's that going for a move? It's Gary on David Harp up the inside. He's trying it 3 wide. How's he going to get on side by side? SGP's trying to make a move for the lead as well. Into the final chicane. I'm trying to look at both. Nothing happening at the front. Gary's still behind Dave. Arpal's got up alongside Gary, though, into the final chicane. Side by side, I think Arpal's got that move done. But SGP, he's going to be on the hunt down to 1 as Demon R goes defensive.
Yeah, with Gary going in that inside line into the 130R, he's going to be slower just to keep the space for the car on the outside, so he might, Arpal might have just got a run on him.
Yeah, Arpal just got a right wiggle on the exit at turn 1 as well, nearly ran 2 wide, and it was trying to sort of pass Dave, and he's nearly got done by Gary. SGP didn't try forcing it around the outside. Oh, something's going on with the pack cam camera there. Yeehaw. I don't know why I just said that. What we got going on. Yeah, SGP tried to go around the outside, or had a look. Didn't try forcing it, which is kind of leading me to think, Ray, that, I don't think he's sort of pushing for the attack here.
SGP a bit wide there. Just like we seen SRI a lap ago. Yeah,
and one thing we'll see as well with these drivers, we may see a few different lines going through this hairpin. Oh, Conrad! Oh, he's tipped wheel again. And it's interesting that I mentioned that, as SGP's got a bit of a run on Demon R. There's a couple of different lines you can take through the hairpin, and it gives you different speeds on the exit. Demon R's got the inside line here. He's going to be able to fend him off. Yes, he is. Can he cover the inside still? But this is going to compromise Demon R now down the back straight. I think SGP might have him here. If not down this straight, down the next one. Conrad's run wide again.
Off again.
Yep. So, here we go.
We've got 2 by 2.
SRI is ahead of Conrad. SGP is now ahead of Demon R. And you'll see Demon R did not sort of defend that at all. I think he knew his speed was compromised. Not much point defending it. Maybe slot in and follow for a while. Steve. Oh, yeah.
Conrad's still fighting with SRI. SRI going to get a better drive, but then he's going to try for the switchback.
Oh, he's got for the pits.
No, he's got pits.
Demon R's got for the pit. This is early. I was going to say Steve F1 was side by side with Twilight. Steve F1's now losing a few more places. I didn't see exactly what happened to him there because I was caught off guard by Demon R and SRI pitting. Where are they going to come out? I mean, that is early to pit. I kind of hinted a little bit on tyres earlier, but I mean, I was going to say we're probably looking at a 3-stop around this track, but if you're going to 3-stop, you'd normally do it around about 10 minutes.
Yeah, I think SRI was like, I'm following you, you're not doing that track to me.
Demon R might be thinking you're not fucking undercutting me this week, you cunt.
Well, 8 minutes, then they're going to have to maybe go a wee bit longer in their next stint by a couple of laps or
quite possible. Well, a couple of minutes at least. I mean, it's interesting because I mean, I don't know.
The laps are 1:50, so about a couple of laps.
Couple of minutes, couple of laps. Sorry, I mean, if you look at the track map, the field is not that spread out, which means the SRI and Demon R are not that far away.
top. Video.
It's all like dipping a wheel. Can he save it? Holy cow, you lucky mother. Oh no,
No.
oh no, oh dear, oh Conrad.
We already seen him off last lap, and SRI overtook him. He went wide there.
You know,
So-
I wouldn't be surprised if Conrad was contemplating, do I pit, because SRI and Demon are having pitted as early as they have. Well, of course, a few off guard. Yeah, Steve got a bit wobbly there, didn't he?
Yeah, bouncing off that inside curb. This is Steve F1's chance to put his head down and get.
Is he going to
pushing.
pit to cover? He is going to pit to cover. So is Jason. Okay, this is fascinating now. Okay, 9.5 minutes. That's not a bad time to pit. But look at how many people.
Conrad's in the pits as well, so Conrad did pit.
So Demon R and SRI, they pitted already. Demon R is ahead of Jimmy. So Demon R is now only 1 lap later. He's up to 4th and he's only, 9 seconds off the lead? This is why Demon R and SRI have pitted as when they did, because everybody else has had to pit that lap later. And they've just been left. I mean, look at the gap between Demon R now and the pack of cars coming through the snake that had just come out of the pits. It's a good 15 seconds.
Yeah, and plus, less cars to overtake, isn't it? So, if SGP, Twilight, and Gary go to pit, they might end up in that pack, and it's a lot of cars to overtake.
It is. I mean, it is going to all Demon R up alongside Gary, making Gary go defensive. Demon R going for a bit of a switch back. Oh, Gary ran a bit wide. I wonder if Demon R may have tagged him there, because Demon R looked like he's backed out of it a bit. Jimmy's now done him. Here comes SRI. He might be saying, you can't do me in the pits, but I'm going to pass you up here. The Demon R's like, this may... Oh, he's given Jimmy a nudge. He's pushed him out wide. I think Demon R's had to back out. I think 2 in 2 corners. He's nudged someone wide. And that's compromised him big time. You were saying about avoiding traffic. Demon R's just put himself right in it.
Yeah, this is going to compromise Demon R now with the battle with SRI. Even though Demon R should be net first after all the pit stops, but
yeah,
we'll see how that plays out.
Well, yeah, I mean, Conrad's on the pack cam scene. Conrad's had another difficult situation up at Spoon. Twilight's into the pits. But yeah, if Demon R would have been net leader with the pit stop and the undercut you get on SGP, then SRI is now their net leader. But Fluffy's making the move on SRI. Doesn't quite commit to it.
SRI late on the brakes through that couple of corners. He's right on the back of Gary now.
Aye, that he is. And also, because Fluffy sort of compromised himself there, Demon R's all over the back of him. Gary's got a little bit wide, got a little bit wobbly. That's allowed SRI the opportunity. Oh, SRI got a little bit wobbly. They're so side by side. There you go. I think SRI is just there. Is he? Oh, just by a ball hair. Demon R still stuck behind Fluffy and Jimmy right there as well. Looking on the pack cam though, now Steve F1 is right behind Jimmy. So the battle between but Steve F1's just punted Jimmy off. Or at least that's what I saw on the pack cam. Somebody give him a penalty.
Yeah, I've seen contact.
Oh, Fluffy!
Fluffy smack.
Oh, and it looks like Demon R's trying to capitalise on this as well.
I thought that was free wide coming on the exit there, but Fluffy and Demon R side by side.
I think Gary at the moment is good. We might be heading up to Spoon, but you can fork off.
You're not spinning me.
Fluffy got a little bit close. Steve F1 had a cheeky little look up the inside, and Jason right behind Steve F1 alongside Dave the Harp. I mean, let's not forget as well, in the championship battle there is a battle. There's a battle here as well. Demon R alongside Gary. Here we go then, Gary. How big are your balls? We saw you try and go 3 wide earlier. Can you do 2 wide? Demon R holds that tight line, got a little bit sideways, but where's Gary gone? There he is.
There's Gary.
Oh, but it's Steve F1. Oh, Demon R spots it, covers him off. Fluffy under a bit of pressure as well. This is absolutely fantastic going on here. Oh, Fluffy nearly just nailed the back of Gary.
In the pits.
Oh, is that Fluffy Glock? Oh, no, it's just a Fluffy Ock.
A Fluffy what?
I missed out a letter on purpose. A C.
You missed out a letter?
Yeah, cock. C. A Fluffy Ock. C, missed out the C. Cock.
Oh, right. I thought you said clock.
I did at first. Is it a fluffy
Like,
clock or is it just a fluffy ock? Miss out the C. Don't worry. Okay, so Demon up to third place now with his championship rival right behind him. That whole battle really has helped out Steve F1. But interestingly, while all that has been going on, Ray, SRI is up into second place. SGP has not pitted yet. And he's still leading the race. Oh, we got 2 or 3 off for Degners. Oh, I saw it on the back of the pack cam there.
Was it going for a 20? Oh, SRI is so out that hairpin.
That he was. I don't think he'll be going for a 20-minute stint. The tyres will be dead. I mean, maybe that's something we'll need to try and keep an eye on. Demon R, as we know, was pitted. He pitted about 8 minutes ago. Tyres aren't too bad, but they will have gone through a bit of a heat cycle with that battle he was in. He's closing in on the back of SRI, though, as Steve F1 also there. So this is
the slipstream.
Aye, that is. Well, this is kind of crucial for Demon R and Steve F1. Is SRI in the fight for the win? Do they work together to try and catch SGP, or does Demon R just try and go for the move into the triangle? SRI going defensive, manages to hold on to that position. Let's have a quick look at the pack cam. Jason and Artpal getting close. Twilight there as well. Demon R is going to go, took it to the inside. He's having a look. Yes, he is.
Oh, I thought SRI was going to push him as far as he could towards that wall, but Steve F1's trying to follow Demon R. Oh, SRI. Oh.
I'm guessing SRI knew he was just ahead and was able to turn in there. It did look like he had the better run down the straight, to be honest, as SGP on the pack cam. His tyres aren't looking too bad, but they're not looking as nice as Ray's are. And Steve F1 now all over the back of Demon R, as we got Camera Friends.
Well, that SRI's faster in the first sector.
Steve F1, sorry, going for the move on Demon R. Is he going to do it? No, he's not. And I mean, this is an interesting situation now as well, Ray, where I mean, Steve F1 doesn't need to take any risks here, but at the same time, I can imagine Demon R is going to make this extremely difficult for Steve F1 to pass.
What does Demon R do? Defend and hope Dave the Harp and Twilight catch him and puts another thing on Steve F1's mind, or does he just keep trying to get to SRI? I
think he probably, at this moment in time, with the length of time he's been on the tyres, defend with everything he's got, because he's probably going to be pitting in the next couple of that. SGP's tyres, look at that. He ain't going, well, we're in 16 and a half minutes. He's surely not going to go for another 3 minutes. I mean, it'd be 2 more laps.
SRI on the dirt. Is that going to help him? He's braking.
Demon R still defending. SGP is in the pits. Demon R and Steve F1 were sort of side by side. I think Steve F1 may be realising that Demon R is going like really defensive on him here. As SRI is giving no one a slipstream here. Demon R didn't want the inside. Didn't want the slipstream so he could cover the inside. But Steve F1's tyres are a bit fresher than Demon R's, with him pitting a lap later. Gary on the pack cam at the moment, as I think SGP has just come out of the pits behind Jimmy and behind Bunsell, and Bunsel's just gone wide at turn 1, and so easily done. And yeah, that is SGP. So SGP, having pitted, has come out in 8th, but we've still got this battle on now, which is currently the second.
Dave the Heart pit, yeah.
You know what, he must have done, because he was right behind these two, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was closing in, yeah.
Now Twilight's in it.
You know what? I think he did, because I saw Jason pit a lap or so ago, and I think Dave may have pitted to cover that off. So yeah, now we've got an interesting situation. SRI is the leader of the race. Demon R is still closing in on him. Steve F1 is coming along as well. But Twilight is also there, and heading into the hairpin now is Gary and SGP on the pack cam. This is getting really close at the front though.
And this is where we know. Contact! Oh, that was lucky for Demon R there.
It was, wasn't it?
SRI must have just felt this.
I think he might not have known that happened. I fucking did.
But yeah, that was close.
To be fair, I mean, something like it's very easily done. I mean, we are going to be talking a bit about radars later on. I mean, this may be one of the reasons why Demon Eyes are going to go for the SRI's defending quite nicely here, right in the middle of the road, making it difficult either way. SGP on the pack cam making a move on Gary. Demon Eyes peeling off into the pits. And looking at the time rate, he has gone. This stint was a little bit longer than that first stint. So...
It was 8 minutes and now we're on 19 minutes.
Yeah.
Steve F1 going round outside. Is he feeling brave? Oh, yes.
He is. Has he got the tyres? Has he got the grip? Can SRI hold it up the inside? It's the slower run, though, through that corner. But let's not forget, SRI pitted the same lap as Demon R last time. Couldn't react to Demon R on this occasion. But this may actually help SRI out a little later on. Just going that little bit longer. Yes, Demon R will benefit now and undercut these guys. But Twilight is now all over the back of SRI. And he's got decent tyres.
Oh yeah, so he has. So he's not long footed as well.
You know what it is? I don't like this car. I don't like this track. I've not done any practice this week. He's in third place. But yeah, I mean, to be fair, I do know that one of the reasons he didn't get much practice in is because he's having difficulties with his knee.
So what does Steve F1 do here? Because he was on a back foot because he went down the order at the start. So how does he play this one out?
Well, it's an interesting one. If you know, if I was him, if he could go another 7 minutes, 6-7 minutes. Oh, SRI, SRI, bye bye. Oh, hello. Yeah, I don't know what Steve F1's tyres are like. We've got a bit of a battle going on behind Jason here with Fluffy and Dave the Harp. Fluffy's just gone a little bit wide. Yeah, I mean, if Steve F1 could get to, say, 26 minutes, he could do it just off one more pit stop. Question is, can he do that? And as we know, Suzuka is so tough on tyres that what you don't really want is to be at the end on knackered tyres while someone's hunting you on fresher ones. Oh, look at the pack cam.
It's a camera guy buggered off. We've been on Steve F1 and we're seeing battles on a pack cam.
He might have
now
done.
we're in the pits.
Oh, SRI.
We're in the pits.
Yeah, well, SRI is. I don't know what we were looking at. Jason and Dave the Arp, they're battling side by side. SRI, where is he? Where's Demon R? There's Demon R. So Demon R is in the traffic now, but has he jumped SRI? I think he has by an absolute margin.
Yeah, SRI isn't even on the timing tower.
The other thing as well, right?
You want to call it.
Yeah, if people are 3-stopping, they're going to be making their second stop any time now. At least I think that's what Demon R will be hoping. And let's not forget, we did see last week Demon R get caught with the traffic, didn't he? So maybe that's what's tempted the aggressive strategy here. Is he's having a look behind Dave the Harp, having another look, headed into the deck. There's Dave a little bit wobbly. It's closing in on Jason, though. Oh, Gary leading the pack at the moment. So Gary's having an interesting race here, isn't he? He's right in the thick of it. Oh, Jason up the inside. They're going to be slow, though. Dave the Art's going to go for a switch back on the both of them. What a move.
What? Demon R, he's went backwards, he's not went forwards. He never followed through with that.
Well, you know what? I think Conrad made a bit of a move on Demon R into the hairpin, which has sort of... well, I think it's compromised him a little bit. It's SGP now on the back of the Twilight. How are SGP's tyres?
Tyres, fresh as a daisy.
He ain't getting to the end, no. There's no way he's getting to the end. Oh, look at the pack cam. Gary alongside Conrad. Demon R giving Conrad a bit of a bump draft, helping him be a bit more side by side. Jason's got a nice rear view of that. Oh, Conrad, Demon R both run a bit wide. That's not what they want. They've both lost places, I think. This is good stuff.
Well, Demon R has, because former Gary and Arpal, if he was side by side with Conrad. So Demon R, it's not working out for him so far.
You're absolutely right. It definitely isn't. SGP has not got past Twilight yet, but let's not forget that SGP's tyres, Twilight's tyres are still in pretty good condition. What I'd really like to see is Steve F1's tyres, because he hasn't pitted yet. If he can go another 3 minutes, it'll be interesting to see what can happen. SRI, by the way, he's in 8th place. He's ahead of Demon R.
Is Demon R pitted? Has something happened?
I'm thinking he may have. SGP making the move on Twilight through Dunlop. Or trying
he won't get to the end, so he's going to have to do an extra pit stop.
Well, he was going to have to do an extra one anyway. I'll see what we can find out. SGP making the move now on Twilight up to the hairpin. It's interesting that he gets Twilight looking in his mirrors, defending into Degner 1, and it results in being able to make the move on the run up to the hairpin, set him up 4 corners before. Dave the Harp ahead of Jason at the moment. We saw Dave with that lovely double switchback on Jason and Gary. Gary's got SRI all over the back of him. Conrad in between those 2 battles. And I am hearing that Demon R did pit again. I think you were right, Ray. Is SRI making the move up the inside of Gary? And Artpal closing in on it now as well. Yeah, it was not working out for Demon R, so I think what he's done is gone for a pit stop. Because he's really not going to lose anything. By the time we get to 30 minutes gone, he'll probably be in the position he would have been anyway with another pit stop to do. So we'll have to see how that goes. Who's that side by side? Conrad? No, it's Gary and SRI, I think. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, SRI. Yeah. I don't know, I wasn't watching, I was keeping an eye on the top screen.
Someone took an interesting line, I think it was Conrad, took an interesting line into the pits. That looked like a bit of a late decision to go in. So Steve F1 still has not pitted. I think he's going for just the one more stop. You know, I think it's the only way he can really get himself back into this fight. SRI's got Fluffy all over the back of him. He's wobbling all over. Oh no, off he goes. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Oh, that's a gravelly camel.
If there was any contact there.
You know what? I think SRI has just plummeted down the order, and I think we may have a retirement there. Not entirely sure what happened. I mean, it did look like he was giving Fluffy a bit of a sort of straight line. Oh, this is for the lead! Holy cow! Yeah. I was so busy trying to make a joke, I nearly missed a battle for the lead. Good job the cameraman hasn't gone for a dump in it.
He wouldn't go for a dump.
No, I want to see Steve F1's tyres. I mean, they look a bit worn. SGP's are in good condition, but I think SGP's still got another stop to do. But he's been able to catch and pass Steve F1. Come on, show us Steve F1's tyres. No, we're going to look at Dave's tyres. Go on.
Yeah, Conrad was making the move up the inside of somebody. I couldn't see who it was.
It's Artpal. Yeah, Artpal.
Oh, he's all over him.
He's all over him like a rash. And Steve! Go on.
He's all over him like a sour apple.
Yeah, absolutely. Steve F1's got massively wobbly through the R130, by the way. I think he's going to be heading into the pits. Yes, he is. That'll be Steve F1's last pit stop.
Yep. I just hope the overtake with Artpal goes good, or else he'll have sore plums.
Yeah. Well, I've got sore plums today. Jesus.
Sewer.
I
didn't say sore, I said sewer. Come on.
Fair enough. Okay, so what we got now? SGP retakes the lead of the race. Dave the Arp, big sideways there. Twilight's in second place. Dave the Arp's in third. Demon R's up to fourth. This is what I was mentioning though, Ray, is it looks like Gary's driver was shaking, or Gary was shaking his head on the way to the pits. Dave the Arp's tyres are looking a little bit dead. Demon R's tyres are looking very, very good. I think Demon R can get to the end from here. I think
13 minutes to go, but he changed them on 22 minutes.
Yeah, but
22 minutes on a clock.
Looking at the amount of wear on them, it looks like he's looked after them. Jason and Jimmy were battling. Gary has, I'm guessing he's just come out of the pits. But yeah, so look at Demon R's level of tyre wear. That's not a lot, considering he's been on them for 3 laps already. It's closing in on Dave the Harp. And so the extra pit stop that Demon R did, it hasn't hurt him at the moment. The question now is, does he have to pit again? Will he have to pit again? Because if he doesn't, he's golden. But if he does, it might be a bit tricky for him. But he's been able to catch up to Dave the Harp quite comfortably at the moment. Dave goes a little bit wide. Dave goes a little bit sideways. Oh, that goal! Yeah, someone's seat just got bitten. That was a close one.
Can I have an set of underlays extra pit stop, please?
No, you've used them all. Excuse me, Steve F1 on the back of Artpal now, going through the R130. Bunsel in his beautiful livery. It's not a Ukrainian livery. It is a Dale Earnhardt livery, which happens to be the same colours as Ukraine as well. But yeah, Steve F1. I mean, we saw him make his pit stop. We knew it'd be his last one. He's now got to contend with a bit of traffic because it could be another couple of minutes until a few more cars peel off into the pit lane. But Steve F1 is trying to make that move now down the main straight. As he got the balls, is Artpal gonna? Yeah, Artpal's gonna go into turn 1, nice and fast. Holds on to that position. Lovely bit of driving from the pair of them there. Bunsell got Jason right behind him. Sorry. Oh, Artpal's had a wobble.
Yeah, and it's going to be hard for Steve F1 to get an overtake here in slippery, slidey snake area.
It is. You know what? If you look closely at Artpal, you'll see his driver is like a bobbin apple.
Bobbing apple.
Steve F1 going for the move into the Degner. Cheeky, risky. He's gone for it. Jason's going to be all over. Oh no, Artpal's coming back at him.
Yeah, Steve F1 going to be defending a lot here. It's going to make him slower.
It is.
So parking it, get that ticket ready.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Artpal's are lucky there because here comes Jason now. Steve F1 did exactly what he needed to be. He knew it as you did. He was going to be slow in the middle of the corner, and the way he's took it has ended up with Artpal. I mean, to be fair, Artpal may have been better rather than going for a switchback. May have been better just going to go all the way around the outside, whereas Jason goes all the way around the inside. And now we've got a battle for second place. Demon R all over the back of Twilight. Demon R's tyres are working for him now.
Looked a wee bit back end kicking out there, but no, he's managed to control that. Where would you overtake? Would you overtake
into one
on the straight on Twilight goes into the pits? Come on, I was wanting a show there. Would you do it in 130R or would you wait till?
Sorry, Jimmy's into the pits. If you're already pretty much alongside into the R130 and you know you got better tyres, yeah, go for it. But you may actually be better off just get the person out of shape into the final chicane and do them into one, because if you can compromise them through one, you can pull away all the way through the snake, through the Degners, then the hairpin, and by the time you get back to the long straight after Spoon, they can't catch you up. So that's what I would normally do, but if the opportunity's there, then yeah, sometimes you would go for it. Okay, what's the situation at the moment?
Just because it's the two big long straights, one after the other.
Yeah.
What one would you overtake on?
Normally what I would do is, if I'm not already alongside about 300 metres before the corner, I wouldn't even attempt an overtake until turn 1, because it's the better way to do it personally. SGP, he's not getting to the end, is he? Excuse me.
He's getting 9 minutes to go on the tyres. I told you we didn't get to the end.
True. Well,
how's Demon R? No, it was Demon R. I said we didn't get to the end.
There's
look
Demon
at his tyres. 9 minutes. And he's been on him how long?
Been on him a while. About 23 minutes gone it was. Steve F1's fairly fresh. We believe we know he can get to the end. He pitted with about
Jason
13
can
minutes.
get to the end. Artpal, Dave the Harp should get to the end on them, but we know he likes to.
SGP's in the pits. This is crucial now. SGP pitting now, 8 minutes. The question is, where's he going to come out? He's got every opportunity still of winning this race. Conrad follows him into the pits. Dave the Harp's going for the pits.
He's going for. I don't think that was the right call. I think he should. He could have got to the end.
Well, I suppose. I mean, for Dave, if it's SGP's coming out just ahead of Artpal, is Artpal going to go round him? No, on the pack cam, can't quite do it. Fluffy just behind Artpal as well. So SGP has come out in 4th place. He's got a damn good chance here. He's got the freshest tyres of the front 4. He just needs to make sure he fends off Artpal. So the question now will be, is Demon R going to pit? Can he stay out? I mean, what would you do, Ray? If you're Demon R, you're now leading the race. You've got a bit of a gap to Steve F1. Do you try and hold on?
I don't think the gap's big enough to Steve F1, but is it big enough to SGP?
Well,
that might be a questionable.
Fluffy's under pressure on the pack cam. Yeah, Twilight's all over him. Twilight's making the move on him. But the other thing to think is, SGP's going to catch up to Jason. It's actually past Jason. SGP is going to catch up to Steve F1. potentially battle. So maybe for Demon R, he may be helped here by the fast-moving. It's not very often you say that about SGP, not at least not when he's in the race car. The fast-moving SGP. So this is definitely not over by a long shot. On the pack cam, looks like Conrad is close. Oh, sneaky! I wasn't really looking. Was it sneaky or was it a bit rough?
Yeah, I think that was a wee, there was a wee bit of roughness in there, but I don't think they're still side by side. SGP gets it.
Yep.
But then this is going to let Jason come back at him, I think, and depending on Jason's tyres though, that's another question. Is Jason going to get a traction? No, he's not. You can see he's fell back quite a bit.
I mean, maybe SGP is thinking he cannot afford to wait around as Fluffy's gone into the pits. It looked like it was a very close battle still with Fluffy and Twilight.
Demon R's tyres. He's got another 6 minutes to go. I think it's going to be close with these tyres. For 6 minutes to go, or 5.5, it's going to be close. Who's that? Conrad's tyre?
Well, he's literally pitted a lap ago, and he's all over the back of Twilight, and also Jimmy there as well. Oh, nice change of direction for Conrad there. Twilight looks like he's maybe struggling a little bit.
He might have worn tyres, and that's why Conrad's able to throw it from left to right. But yeah,
well,
I'm more worried about Demon R here than
Demon R's on the pack cam at the moment, and it'd be interesting to keep an eye on that gap. Because there is two main factors there. Will his tyres hold together, and will SGP catch Steve F1? If SGP catches Steve F1, they battle, lose time. Demon R may get away with it. But as we know around this track, if your tyres go, you are screwed. So Demon R, I'm sure, will be keeping an eye on that. And to be fair, if it's not going to make it, he probably sort of last ditch pit now. Or you make the gamble, but look how much the gap's come down on the pack cam.
Yeah, he's struggling, isn't he? Just.
Well, keep an eye on that race. See what happens to the final few corners as Twilight making a move on Art Pal. Jimmy having a look at Conrad as they're making their way to the R130. Demon R's gone a bit deep at the final corner. Look at how much Steve F1 has closed in. Demon R is going for the pits.
I don't think he was getting to the end on the tyres, I know.
Well, the question now is, where's Ray? And can Demon R do a Ray? An SRI.
Well, SRI, we've not seen him at all, so he must have retired.
Maybe. Jimmy! That may have been a little bit over forceful, but through he goes. So SGP now on the back of Steve F1 for the lead of the race. Obviously, Demon R pitting there has had a massive effect on what the championship standings would be, but I can only think that for Demon R to pit there, he knew he was not going to make it to the end without getting swamped, not just by these two.
Oh, Steve F1, what a corner cut that was.
Oh, I didn't say. I was looking at Art Pal and Dave the Art battling towards the Degners. Or Dave the Art having a cheeky look up the inside into Degner too. Has he got it done? No, not quite. As Steve F1 has been passed by SGP. I didn't see it.
No, I didn't see it. I was too busy concentrating on the pack cam.
Yeah, the pack cam was more excited. Sorry. People can rewind it. Yeah.
I don't want to rewind it.
Oh,
his head's big enough.
What's going on? It looks like we've got a new camera angle on the pack cam. That, I believe, is on Demon R. Maybe this is why we've not used that camera angle before, because when you're on a car, you ain't got a bloody clue who you're on. I think that may be on SGP, because I think he's pulling away from Steve F1. On the main screen, though, what we got, Dave the Arp on the back of Arpam. Dave the Arp pitted a few minutes ago, didn't he? And he surprised us, but maybe he just thought, you know what, I can only do 8 minutes, I'd rather be aggressive and go for it. And he's got the opportunity here on Art Pal, but Art Pal's having a look at the back of Jimmy. Dave may have to just play this a little bit safe.
No, he's going in the inside Art Pal. Is he going to get it stopped? Yep.
That he is.
Demon Art Pal's still beside him.
Demon R's there, look.
There he is.
So
he's got to get through this quickly.
Yeah, that he has. How long have we got left? 2 minutes. So we're going to have this lap and another. So I think we've got 2 laps to go, Ray. As what can Demon R do? What can Dave Harp do? Oh, Art Pal can't turn in. I think he realised there's a car there. So Demon R's managed to get through. In comes Fluffy as well, like a bat out of hell. Yeah. I can't remember the words. Well,
be gone when the moment comes. That sounds like a winning stand.
well, you see, I just see Fluffy's car and I think, who's going to give him a tow?
It depends if it was jeggings.
It depends on how much he pulls them up. Demon R's got to be careful here as Fluffy's all over the back of him. I mean, you questioned it, I questioned it. Did Demon R make the right choice? Dave the Art making a move on Jimmy at the moment. Oh, look at this. This is mental.
Who's Demon Art going to follow? Is it going to be Dave the Hut or is it going to be Jimmy?
Oh! Bunsel! They nearly completely lost. I think that was first gear for Bunsel. Demon R's not got a run. Gary's got a run though. Demon R's going to have to go defensive here. Dave the Harp's managed to get ahead of Jimmy. As Demon R is defensive, he needs to make sure he doesn't get swallowed up here. Oh, and in comes Fluffy!
Fluffy! Jesus!
Oh, Demon R with a bit of a switch back on Jimmy. Dave's been compromised as well, I think. Maybe got a bit out of shape. Now Demon R's got an opportunity on the back of Dave the Harp. Oh, what a train we've got going on here. Choo-choo, motherfuckers.
Where's Thomas?
Oh!
Was that a turning or...
Well, I don't
couldn't
know.
see that.
It's difficult to tell. It got a bit sketchy, I know that much. Jimmy is still there, by the way. So's Gary, so's Fluffy Artpal, and Bunsel. Bunsel's doing well at the moment.
He caught back up with the pack after his moment at the hairpin.
Oh, this could be a problem for Dave the Art.
Slap.
Oh yeah, it is Dave the Art. Demon Art going up the inside into turn one. He's got the move done. Who was that? Holy cow! Jimmy's gone. Oh, Steve F1! Oh, he nearly blocked it. Oh.
Jason's there in the waiting.
That he is. How are Jason's tyres? Steve F1's tyres are knackered. Jimmy's tyres are knackered, but he just had a big off. Conrad didn't make the last lap. Oh, Jimmy, we've barely seen him, but now he's in the gravel. Oh.
Who's that side by side? Artpal and Fluffy. Oh, Artpal!
Can he save it? No, and around it goes. They're falling like flies. Oh dear, falling like flies around a bug zapper. Steve,
you know when it's a last lap, don't you?
Yeah, Jason's all over Steve. Oh, Fluffy. Gary and Fluffy. Fluffy's not stopping that, is he? Gary trying up the inside. Cheeky, sneaky, got it done.
Yeah, here comes Jason on the back of Steve F1. What's he got? Spoon and a 130R in the triangle to get this done.
Oh, yeah.
You got to have it done before the kink in the 130R.
Yeah, well, Twilight's on him as well. Oh, Gary got out of shape. Fluffy on the side. Fluffy's just tagged the back of Dave. Oh, and then tagged the side of Gary. This is getting really close though. SGP's on the track somewhere going into the final chicane, I think. Oh, so what can Steve F1 do? He's got to go defensive, surely. He's not got defensive.
He's not. He's left the door open.
Jason up the inside. Can he get it done? Has he got... Yes, he can. I think he's ahead. SGP takes the win. Where's Jason? Is ahead. He's in second. Where's Steve F1? Where's Twilight? Can Twilight get him? Can Twilight get him? He's getting close. He just holds on. Demon R's going to take fifth. Dave Harp sixth. Fluffy seventh. Oh, pal. Yeah, whatever. Yeah. Oh, holy wow.
I need that bloody drink.
Yeah. Wow, what a race. What a race. Oh, Jesus. I thought it started exciting. That finished exciting. That was brilliant.
Yeah. That was a great race by the drivers.
Aye. Oh, I'm sweating. It's not often I'm sweating from doing commentary.
That's why I had to take my top, my hoodie off. Not my top off, my hoodie. I started getting sweaty. I was like, dude. Jesus. I feel like I've been racing round the circuit.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, a few things to mention there. Absolutely thrilling racing. SGP has done really well. I think went for the two-stop strategy. It's a bit risky, but I think maybe with Demon R pitting early, SRI pitting early, it maybe led SGP to think, no, you know what, I'll go long. Because around Suzuka, it isn't always easy to overtake, and if you get caught in traffic, it can be a bit tricky. So SGP's had a fantastic race, it really has, and he deserves one this season because he's had some bloody shockers. Jason, second place. I mean, he
Yeah.
wasn't in it for the whole of the race, and then all of a sudden, the last 5 minutes, it's like, "Hello, Steven. I am your friendly Swedish man. I come to take away your second place."
Yeah, and especially like Jason will always know is great on the second half of the race. So are we seeing the Jason we once knew coming back?
Quite possibly. Yeah, I mean, he's had a great race. Steve F1 finished third, just. I think for him, he may not be best pleased with how his race has gone over the grand scheme of things, but knowing Steve, he'll look at what the important thing is. Did he finish ahead of Demon R? The answer is yes, so I think he'll be happy with that. He had a bad start, didn't he?
Yeah, he fell down order very
Yeah.
quickly in the first couple of turns, didn't he?
Yeah, and the thing is, I
Yeah.
mean, when that happens as well, you start getting swamped. I mean, we saw him then lose it a bit at the second Degner. And I would guess, I mean, throughout the race, I mean, we sort of hinted at it, like are people going to stay out? Are they not going to stay? And he went with that long middle stint so that to have that shorter stint at the end. And to be fair, it was working for him, but I think in a way, I think it probably shows that, I mean, some will say, did Demon R make the right choice? I think had Demon R not pitted, what happened to Steve F1 at those last sort of 2-3 laps would have happened to Demon R, because Demon R's tyres would have been older. So Steve F1 done well, but those last couple of laps got really close with Jason and Twilight catching up. But yeah, and for Twilight to be that close to stealing the podium off Steve F1, considering that he doesn't like the car, he doesn't like the track, and he's doing this.
We know he's a bit of a joker, isn't he?
Yeah, he's full of shit, kid.
Why so serious?
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, to be
Don't
fair,
ask him how he got his scars.
No, definitely don't. If it's anything like me, it's from being drunk. But yeah, great race for him. Was it Demon R finished 5th, I think? Oh,
Yeah, Demon R fifth.
for the championship, it didn't work. I mean, for the strategy, I like what Demon R and what SRI did with that early pit stop. I think that would have thrown a few people. But it was the timing of it as well, as we saw for Demon R and SRI. By the time they'd done 1-2 more laps, they were up into like 4th place. The traffic had pitted, everything was pretty good. They then both went with that longer stint. Unfortunately, bit of traffic. We saw Demon R, I think he hit, sort of nudged 2 cars off in 2 corners.
Jimmy. It was Jimmy.
Yeah, Jimmy and Gary.
Jimmy in the corners. It was Jimmy in the both corners.
Oh, right, was it?
And SRI got ahead of him.
Yeah, and then
Demon R
got swamped. And I mean, this is one of the things that you'll find with the likes of SGP and Steve F1. When things don't necessarily go to plan, there's a backup plan, and it's not something that is necessarily thought about too much, but it's sort of like, okay, if I'm stuck in traffic, what am I going to do? Or if I spin on the first lap, what am I going to do? So for example, if you spin and you end up at the back at the end of the first lap, there's no harm in pitting and going for a brand new set of tyres. You're at the back anyway, and by the time you get to the next pit box, you'd have caught up quite a bit. So they've got those things in the bank ready to fall upon if they need to be. And I think that's what Demon R did here with going for, because I think pitted 18 minutes gone and then pitted 5 minutes later, which would only suggest a change in strategy. Looked like he could go to the end, couldn't go to the end, channeled his inner SRI, went for the late pit stop, and to be fair, I think had he stayed out, he probably at best would have been 5th, because I think SGP would have got him.
I think he would have got swamped at the end if he stayed out. His tyres would have just gone, because when we looked at it, before his pit stop, his tyres looked pretty nearly knackered.
Yeah.
So
the thing you should mention as well is, although, I mean, we're talking about them looking pretty knackered, and people may be looking and going, well, they weren't as knackered as they were at a different track. Suzuka's a different animal. The level of wear, like if you get to 50% wear on one of your front tyres at Suzuka, you're screwed. Because you've got no grip then for those, especially when it's the front left that goes. You have no grip round turn one. You basically have no grip in any of the right-handers. And so, whereas somewhere that's nowhere near as harsh on the tyres, you could run them a lot further. But yeah.
Plus the speed of the corners as well. The
Yes.
speed of the corners are third gear mostly.
Yeah.
So you're hitting about 115 upwards.
Yeah, that you are.
So,
Yeah, it punishes them tyres. Sixth place. Who was sixth? Was it Dave the Harp?
Dave the Harp.
Dave's done well on a track that we know kills tyres. He's done well to finish sixth place there. He's been right in the thick of the action all the way through. Looks like he's had a decent race, to be fair.
Yeah, we've seen him in the battles with everybody. I think there was a wee bit of. Oh no, it was further back. It was just a couple of cars behind. There was a wee bit of to me, to you, to me, to you. You want to touch? You
bit
can
of,
touch away.
Mr. RG and Mr. Bargy.
But Dave the Harp must have had a great race. He must be feeling great with that.
Yeah, I mean Suzuka, it's a tough track anyway.
Yeah.
But also, as we know, I mean, we know that Dave suffers a bit more with tyre wear than others. So for him, he's had a good result there. Who was seventh place? Was
Fluffy.
How? I don't know, because the amount of times it was like, oh, Fluffy. It'll be interesting to see. I do think he's had a bit of an adventurous race.
Yeah, his overtake of the races, the one he slipped in between, I think it was Gary and Art
At
Pal.
the start of Spoon, which he knows football.
Yeah.
Excuse my language.
Yeah.
There's
it's
a
just
corner here. There's 2 cars here. All right, it's all right.
I'll just go in here, and it must be that motocross.
Yeah, he's not used to being flat.
And it was Fluffy and Gary that were having touchy feely
Well, think about it. I mean, sort of remembering that as well. I think Fluffy went in a bit too hot, tagged the back of Dave, got Fluffy all out of shape, and then Gary was coming past him, and it looked like Fluffy got a bit wobbly. What I will say though is
that was great to watch.
It definitely was. What I will say though is I don't know at the moment if there's been any reports placed about anything Fluffy. If there has, they're not going to be on this week's G-Spot because there isn't going to be a G-Spot this week. But that's because there's going to be more stuff on the next G-Spot. There is going to be something that we're going to hint at a moment that I think everybody needs to see. We'll do it after we finish this quick rundown. So who finished behind Fluffy?
8th was Gary.
Gary's had an interesting race. I mean, right up there, defending with everything he's got. I mean, he must have been sweating after that race.
He was battling the Demon R at a point as well, wasn't it?
Yep. Well, I mean, if there's one thing that Gary has learned over the last couple of championships is that with everything that he's been working on, and sometimes there will still be mistakes, but everything he's been working on, it has then allowed him to be that little bit more confident with defending and attacking and things like that. And it's not easy to get past Gary. And I mean, I'm not to say that that's not something we'd never said before, because we used to say it's not easy to get past Gary, but for different reasons. But Gary is good. He's got a lot better at his defensive driving. And there may still be a few things that happen that we may touch on with a little bit of awareness. But we mentioned last week about this track that it is narrow, it is twisty, there's going to be contact in places. You can't look at everything on the screen at the same time. But for me, Gary's had a really good race here. On a track where I think he's suffered in the past with sort of last lap incidents being taken out and stuff like that. He's had a really good race.
Yeah, Bunso 9th.
How? I don't know. But I mean, to be fair, Bunsel's done really well. I mean, he had no practice. He literally got on 10 minutes before the race. And we know it's not easy to do that. Some people may have been caught out behind him into some of the fast corners, but I think that's where, for everybody else, they have to be aware, okay, if this guy, if he's not had a chance to get a lot of practice in, he may not realise you can go flat out through the R130, or may slow down too much for turn 1 where you can sort of go flat out into 1. So other drivers sometimes just have to be that little bit more aware. But Bunsel looks like he's had a good race. He was definitely in some of the action, that's for certain. Got to show off his livery as well.
Yep.
But yes, so done well. 10th place,
Jimmy's
had go on.
Jimmy we've seen off a couple of times, haven't we?
Mm-hmm.
So he's had an interesting race.
He definitely has. We didn't really get to see him battling much. I think if we did, it would have been on the pack cam. I think it's just the nature of how his race went, where when there was like a big pack of cars battling it out, I think he'd probably not long pitted, so we didn't really get to see a lot of him. But I can imagine on occasion may have been a bit of a frustrating one for Jimmy, but Suzuka is one of those tracks that to first enjoy it, you've got to get to the end, and the enjoyment then comes with how many times you don't end up off the track. But yeah,
I'm very brought down for not seeing much of Jimmy, because the amount of corners round here, I wanted to see him sliding round them.
Yeah, definitely. I can imagine Jimmy's maybe that's what we'll have to do one day on G-Spot, just watch Jimmy. But yeah, so 11th place.
Art Pal.
I think something may have happened with Art Pal on the last couple of laps, because he was up in that battle, wasn't he, for sort of 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. So I do think that something may have happened. I think overall he's had a good race. We saw him battling with who was it into turn 1? It might have been Steve F1.
Steve F1 went round the outside.
Yeah, tries to go around. Yeah, looked at going around the outside. Yeah. So I mean, Art Pal's had a good race. I mean, let's not forget he's still fairly new, or re-new to a lot of the racing. Yeah, I don't think he should. Okay, the race has not ended in the way that he would have liked, but I think take positives from the rest of it.
Plus, he's still tuning in his setup. Yeah. He needs to take a couple more inches off his desk.
or just take some off his toes. But yeah, a tough one for him. I mean, we've talked about it before. You can have the best race in the world, but if the last 2 laps go to crap, the rest of the race quite often is forgotten. But I think he really should try and focus on the positives out there, because he did have a really good race. 12th place, I think, was Conrad, wasn't it? He didn't manage to get that last lap in.
Yeah. Why is it? Yeah, it must be Conrad.
The image I've shared might not be right. I should have double checked that. I should have learnt my lesson. But yeah, Conrad did cross the line. That has been confirmed. We did confirm it on Thursday night. We confirmed it right after the race. And yes, he crossed the line. I think it was about 6 seconds after the final lap flag had come out, so he didn't get that extra lap in. Tough one for Connor. I mean, you mentioned it early on. He turns up, even with limited practice, and he's fast. There's no doubt about it. It's just, we know that if you don't get that, even if it's, I mean, if you're able to get, even if it's 10, 15, 20 minutes and find out, okay, I've got to be careful there for go off, or if I've got to be careful there because I could go off. It could make such a difference, but at the same time, we know that obviously Connor's got work and stuff like that, and it's not always easy for him to get on, and it can be frustrating for him. But again, I think he's someone who should try and look at the positives of it. That he's going to be on the G-Spot next week. I don't think we saw it during the race, but I know there was a moment in the race that was very interesting for a couple of the drivers. So I'm not saying he did anything wrong. I just want to have a look at it.
Yeah, Conrad was up there battling for the podium. He had quite good battles. He was in the pack as well, battling in the pack at some point. Just he has limited time on practice, so he's turning up. We know he's fast, but if he gets a bit of practice, he'll know like the limits. Maybe when he's racing, we know he's fast, but he's trying to be faster than he needs to be, and that's where the mistakes are coming from.
I think on a track like Suzuka, I mean, I'd probably say they're not necessarily mistakes either. It's just it's so easy around here to just wander that 6 inches too far.
Well, you explain it better than me. I just go. I'm kind of blunt. I'm Scottish. Come on, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
But yeah, that way he might not be pushing it, but he just wanders off and forgets. And he breaks that just a little bit too late. Yeah. Where he would know kind of, right, I'm coming up to my breaking point. This is where I need to brake. And that, but yeah. And it does happen at every race, doesn't it? Some people minds just wander and go, what was that?
Yeah, definitely.
How did that happen?
The thing is, it does happen. I mean, I know I've done it. Well, we've seen me do it on at Brands Hatch. I just tried going that little bit faster and ended up binning it into the wall. 13th place.
I was nobody in 13th place.
Yes, there was.
There was a DNF.
Oh, right, okay. Okay.
SRI, technical issues.
Okay, so SRI with a DNF, that's a shame. Because SRI was having a race where he was potentially in the he was in the fight for the win. Demon R was in the fight for the win, and then SRI jumped him through just after one of the pit stops. I think SRI had a really good chance here, so any technical difficulties must have really, 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 really pissed him off. Yes.
Yeah, I think the line cable jumped.
Oh, was it a disconnection then?
I think so. I can't remember.
Oh, fair enough. Okay. Right, what we'll do in a moment is we will have a look at the next track in a moment. But I did say that we'll be looking at something that I want to highlight before the next race, and we will go into this in much more depth on next week's G-Spot. But I'm going to put some images up on the screen, Ray, just for you. I've put them in the...
I've got them.
Okay. So... there's 3 images that I'm going to be sharing. I'm going to do one at a time, and it's from 3 different views. The first one is from the view that a few of the drivers use, which is the front bumper view with a virtual mirror. And what I want to say here is that what me, the 2 Steves and Ray have done is we've parked our cars at Suzuka nose to tail. We could not get them any closer to each other. But what we want to point out is that if we look at the picture of the radar, we can see that there is a gap between the point of each arrow and the back of each arrow. Although there is no gap between the cars. It might look like there is, but physically they can't move any closer together. So what...
Mirror as well.
Yeah, and in the mirror, I mean, you look at how far back. I mean, we're on board with Demon R, and that's SRI behind. SRI is as close to the back of Demon R as he can get, but it would look like he's a good car length or so back, which is very interesting to know. But one of the reasons why I want to mention this, especially now, is that what this could lead to is if people are in a very close side-by-side battle and they think, okay, I'm just ahead now, I can move across. What they might find is when they move across, they're actually making contact with the other car. The radar is deceiving them a little bit. Now, we may have seen that happen a few times in this race. I think there was one we saw with SRI and Demon R, where you was like, oh, is that contact? Yes. But it's possible that on the radar, SRI thought he was ahead if he even looked at it. I don't know. But those
that was coming up to spin in this race.
Yes, it was, yeah. But I've also seen it happening between other drivers as well, where one driver's sort of trying to move across, but there's contact, and it may be that they're being deceived by the radar. So as drivers, what we need to do is go, okay, this is the size of the car, this is the size of the arrow, we need to leave that bit extra margin as well. So if you're trying to do fine line overtakes off the radar, well, a few things to remember. On the radar, that's a triangle, the cars are not triangle. Also, on the radar, the triangles are the same size, no matter the vehicle you're using, and the cars are not. So yeah, leave that little margin forever. I'm going to change to the second view now, which is like the T-cam view. So it's basically exactly the same position, no one's moved. The cars are as close together as they can be. And on the radar, again, you can see that there is that little bit of a gap. And by showing this, what we might be able to do with the G-Spot, Ray, is we can recreate this, but we can have it so there's a tiny little bit of overlap between the cars, but hopefully show on the radar where it looks like you could like tuck in behind someone, or someone could move across in front of you, but actually would result in contact. Yeah. I just think that this is very interesting to bring to everyone's awareness. There's also another view. I don't know really why I've used this picture, probably just to show how close we really were. Actually, yeah, you know what? This would be very handy for the first picture that we saw, Ray, where you said, and look at the mirror with SRI. I mean, we look at how close SRI is to the back of Demon R there. You can't get any closer. But then you compare that to that first picture with the virtual mirror, and it looks like it's just so far away.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it does. It's just that deceiving, isn't it? That virtual mirror that will catch people out, and the radar's catching people out as well.
Yeah, definitely. So a couple of things to note with this. We are going to do a much more in-depth analysis of this on the next G-Spot. And by in-depth analysis, I mean we're going to show different vehicles, one of which will be next championship's car, so that we're all going to be able to know before we get into that car what the situation is with the radar, because obviously that'll help everybody.
It wasn't until recently that they had moments of noticed it, to be honest with you, because I think we were messing about testing stuff and
bump drafting someone and then going, well, not near you on the radar. Was it like that?
I don't know if it was bum drafting or we were having a carry on race, and it looked like somebody was nowhere near the other person. We're like, well, wait a minute, I'm right up your bookie.
Yeah.
and then that's what led us to go and check out more, and as we checked out more, it was interesting.
Yeah, and it is going to be interesting, definitely. We've done a bit of groundwork already, but like I say, we'll go into a bit more in-depth analysis on that. Also, if anybody does have anything else they want us to have a look at on the G-Spot, feel free to get in touch. There is a couple of other things that we were going to have a look at. As I mentioned earlier, at the time we're doing this, we don't know if there's been any reports, or even if there are reports. I will just mention as well that even if there are reports, it doesn't mean that on the G-Spot we'll look and view every incident. We're more likely to only look at the ones that are a bit weird or may need a bit of explaining or something like that. But having said that, we have
ones that can help drivers as well.
Absolutely. But I mean, also we have no problem, like if a report is done with, dealt with, and a penalty is given or not given, if somebody wants further information, we can always say to that person, well, okay, we can go and have a chat about it if you want, or we can G-spot it. which gives us the time to sort of go through it and show it. So, but yeah, and so there's all those things as well. Right, okay. Just want to sort of touch on a few things. I tried doing a bit of a Swedish accent during that race, Jason. I do apologise for that. It was a bad one, I know.
I don't even hear it.
Didn't
It's
you?
that bad.
Yeah. But the thing is, though, you're Scottish, though, yeah, right?
Yeah.
Right. But if you're going into the bathroom, right, you're Scottish, and when you're coming out of the bathroom, you're Scottish. What are you when you're in there?
What am I when I'm in there? I'm taking a shit. That's what I'm.
No, European.
I've heard that before. Crap.
What a disappointment.
Yeah, European.
Could be worse. I bought some shoes from a drug dealer. I don't know what he laced them with, but I was tripping all day.
You used that already?
That was on an old podcast. It didn't count.
No, it wasn't. You've used it recently.
Alright, fair enough. Clearly then, I need more jokes, people. Send me more jokes.
Don't, please, don't.
RAC man spotted on the side of the road crying his eyes out. They reckon he was heading for a breakdown.
Okay.
Thing is, I don't mind not having many jokes this week because that race was bloody brilliant. It definitely, makes up for it. And to be fair, if I'd have had more time, I would have sourced
The best
more jokes.
jokes that you have is when they're made out of nowhere
Oh, I know.
in their race. Then this, you set it up, and I'm like, okay, here we go, shit joke.
Yep, I know, but come on, if I didn't do it, the viewers would be disappointed. And I do it to wind you up, it's funny. Because sometimes there's the odd one that is funny. And there's the odd one that you don't catch on to, like the tour guide. But anyway, right, should we have a look at the next track? I do believe I have sent you the track map.
Yeah, I've sent me the track, and I actually had removed it to put the pictures up. Next track is Sardignity, 3.18 miles long, 16 corners, tyre damage green. Oh, interesting. And we have 16 corners. We only have 4 named. We have, I don't know which way this goes, so I'm just going to call it.
It goes south from Hayes south.
Right, so. Alright.
So the start finish line is in the below Hayes, basically.
So the first corner out from the start finish line is going to be Ballbags Bend. Is that because Radrian's Wall isn't there?
No.
Is that the same track?
It is, but turn 1, 2 and 3 don't have names yet. Turn 4 and 5 is Ballbags Bends, because that's where Radrian's Wall is, but the left-hander is where Radrian's Wall would be, but it's been removed to bring in the right-hander, and that's why it's Ballbags Bends.
And then we have a straight up to the Church of No Hope, because if you get that wrong, you're going in that church and you may as well pray and ask for a coffin.
Mm-hmm. I thought you said coffee there.
Coffin.
Oh, Vicar, can I have a cuppa?
Yeah, before I go to Pearly Gates, can I have a coffee, please?
2 sugars.
Yeah, and then as we go up the hill, we hit Apple's Hairpin. Why is that Apple's Hairpin?
Something must have happened there with him in one of his first races, I think.
Did they miss it? And
Quite possibly. Might have taken a few cars out. Because we raced this track the other direction. In... Oh, I can't remember which car.
Was it the four different? No, wait.
No, he wasn't in that championship. It might have been the Ferrari.
Was it KTM? No, it wasn't KTM.
No, it should have been the Ferrari. La Coppa della Signora Rampante. I reckon. So yeah, that's why it's called Apples.
And then you get a series of lefts and rights into another hairpin with no name at the moment. And then we've got the fast right kink down to the start finish straight, which is called Haze.
Yes, because he always ends up in the wall when we're going the other direction. So yeah, I mean it's an
But
interesting.
also another one of them at that kind of area. It's close to the pit lane where he ended up in the pit lane from Fluffy.
That is true. Yeah, coming in from the other direction, and the thing is that could happen again here. If somebody, like, if we have a big crash there, we could end up seeing people spinning into the pit lane. It is a possibility. I mean, it's an interesting track. It's one that I think at first glance people will look at it and go, I'm not sure about these cars around there, but actually these cars are pretty good around there. And it again, it's a bit of a street circuit, kind of a little bit Monaco-ish, but plenty of overtaking opportunities. Turns 1, 2 and 3 is a great sequence of corners in this car. Turn 4 and 5 with ball bags bends, tricky, but overtaking opportunities. Up to Church of No Hope. That's an odd corner.
Gonna be interesting try to do an overtake at the Church of No Hope. No doubt it can be done, but
well, it's one of those corners where, and we've said it before, you have corners now and again where every time you go through, you go, I think I'll go through there faster. This is one of them, and you try going through it faster, you end up in the barrier. But also, I think you could end up too wide around there quite comfortably.
yeah. And then you've got up the hill. Is there not a sticky out wall somewhere you need to watch out for?
I think it's
Or
on the
is that
way.
the opposite?
It's on the way down the hill, so we should be all right. But the run to the hairpin is a tricky one because you come over the crest of the hill and then you're pretty much into the braking zone. And if you get your braking wrong at that corner, you're coming to a very, very quick stop. Unfortunately,
You're going to be like apples falling off the tree.
yes. So I mean, it isn't. Well, it's an overtaking opportunity, but again, it's one of those. It's a corner that is so slow that if we see people side by side there, anyone that's up the inside is going to be so slow. It's going to be tough to make a move. The Wigglies is a beautiful section in this car. Then the run to the final hairpin, tricky one as we know, and then flat out through Hayes. It is a fascinating racetrack in these cars. And the closeness of the walls does make things interesting. I'm excited to see. I mean, let's put it this way: the race around Suzuka today has been absolutely brilliant to watch. And I imagine that with barriers all around the edge of the track instead of grass. That's basically what we got here. So yeah, now something else I need to mention is at the moment I don't know what the confirmed championship standings are, so I couldn't tell you right now whether Steve F1 potentially mathematically has beaten Demon R or not, because I think there was 2 points between them, but off the top of my head I can't remember how many points each of them scored at the moment, so I don't think we can confirm Steve F1 as champion yet, but at the next race, I think he's got a possibility, because next race is race 8 of 9, and the last race is at DGT Seaside. So, Steve F1, get ready to do the Champions Challenge.
No, we can't confirm them. Oh well, we need to confirm them before.
Yeah, it needs to be confirmed to enforce the Champions Challenge, yeah, but
I was gonna say you shouldn't confirm them until the last race.
should have done it at the previous race.
If it doesn't turn up in the last race, then he loses all his points.
Yeah. You get fastest disconnection bonus penalty points.
No, that's Gary.
All right, fair enough. Yeah. Okay. I think we are just about done for this week. We've gone on a little bit more this week, but we haven't got a G-spot, so it's absolutely fine, I reckon. Also, the race video, obviously this will have been out before the F1 this week, but we should be back to normal time next week, depending on what's happening next week, so yeah, keep an eye out. Right, thank you very much, Ray, for joining us on commentary.
No worries at all.
And we'll go and check out the confirmed race results and the championship standings. Confirmation then of race 7. SGP taking the victory, the maximum 20 points. Jason stealing that second place late on, 17 points for him. Steve F1 managed to hang on for third, 15 points for him. Twilight in fourth, a great result there. Demon R in 5th place with 12 points, so drops another 3 to Steve F1. With Dave the Harp in 6th, just ahead of Fluffy Planet in 7th, who unfortunately does get a -3 point penalty for a collision on the last lap, which resulted in a car being off the track. 8th place, Formula Gary, 9 points for him. Bunsell, well done to Bunsell, finishing in 9th place, just ahead of Jimmy in 10th. Art Powell finished in 11th with Conrad in 12th, and unfortunately SRI did not finish. Big shame for SRI. There's good opportunity gone here for potentially taking a victory, if not another podium. Okay, let's have a look then at what this has done to the championship standings. Well, looking at it, I think Demon R is going to need a Michael Massey miracle to turn this one around. Steve F1 leading the way on 132 points, 21 ahead of Demon R. It's going to be difficult to do anything about that. SGP in 3rd place on 92 points after his victory. He's now 10 ahead of Jason. He's opened that gap up nicely. Jason's got a bit of a gap to Dave the Harp in 5th place, and Dave has now got a 9-point gap to Twilight in 6th. Twilight, though, is under a lot of pressure. Got Conrad in 7th place on 57 points, Gary in 8th on 56, Arpal in 9th on 53, and then only 5 back is Fluffy. Fluffy's got a bit of a gap to Hay in 11th place, but Mitch is still only 2 behind Hay. SRI only 5 behind Mitch in 13th place, with Rich Blues only 3 behind SRI, but Rich Blues is going to be missing the next race as well, seeing as he's in Abu Dhabi. Jimmy in 15th place, only 1 point behind Rich, so hopefully if Jimmy can turn up next week, even if he has a shocker but get some points, he'll be ahead of Rich, and that's all that he'll need to be able to rib him at work. Bunsell is still in 16th, but now on 12 points. Well, it's been an absolutely epic race here at Suzuka. Hopefully the next 2 races are going to be just as mental, because it's definitely exciting. Don't forget, folks, there is merch available on the DGT Streamlabs merch site. Link is in the description. Custom items are available as well. Anything else to let you know? Not that I can think of, other than to remind you there isn't a G-Spot this coming Monday, hopefully the race will be at the normal time next Sunday. Depends on what happens with the Formula 1. Have a good one, everybody. Thank you for watching. Hit those bells, notifications and all that jazz, and we'll see you all again soon.